Oh, I have a story I'm gonna make up for the podcast for the hat.
What?
He's gotta puke! He's gotta puke!
All right, welcome everybody back to another episode of Unexpected Wrestling. We've had quite a week in the world of professional wrestling this week, right off of the tail end of Elimination Chamber. I know that we have an AEW pay-per-view coming up, AEW Revolution. That's actually going to be happening tonight. I'm going to try to catch it. I'll probably have to catch up on a lot of it tomorrow, though, because I do have work very, very early in the morning. And yes, we will be talking about some of the results next week for that, but we are going to run down the match card tonight for AEW Revolution. Mr. Chonk, how are you doing? You look pretty interesting today.
Yeah, I meant to buy this Final Boss hat on Amazon.
Really?
And I couldn't find it, so I ended up buying a version on Temu.
Oh.
And on Temu, they sent me and it says Final Puss.
Oh.
I don't understand why.
And that, I think that's officially WWE licensed, right? That's somehow they must have messed that up. Wow.
Yeah. Well, when you buy things from Temu, you know,
yeah.
It's not exactly the right spelling.
Yeah, I think they're actually like a level down from Wish.com, to be honest with you. So you went for a Final Boss hat and you got the Final Puss hat. And is that battery powered, or how is that even powered? What the heck?
Yeah, it's a USB, and it has a Bluetooth app.
Oh, nice.
And unfortunately, I can't change it from anything but Final Puss. It's stuck on that.
Well, at least you don't have to shove a USB cord up your ass to power it, so that's a little bit better.
No, hopefully. I don't have to shine it up real nice or anything like that.
Okay, so let's start off with a little bit of wrestling news here. It hasn't been too much of a controversial week in regards to internet gossip or anything. But one thing that did happen on Friday, we had the WWE 2K25 pre-release. The pre-release happened for the special editions. They come out 7 days early. I ended up getting the Bloodline edition, which is like the highest edition that you could get. And I have to say, I have a lot of positives to say. I do have a couple negative things to say. Mr. Chunk, I know that you did not get the game, but we will be playing it very soon in April for our WrestleMania stream. We will be doing at least one stream where it will be Mr. Chonk and I in studio together, and we will be playing WWE 2K25. And trust me when I say that there will be some shenanigans happening.
Yes,
with all of that.
30-second ladder matches where it'll glitch out and I'll somehow win.
Oh god, that's something to look forward to, and I'm actually preparing for that. I got a couple things for new equipment, and I also got a second PlayStation controller so that we can do co-op. So that's
Yeah.
going to be
You might have to
interesting.
pause the game. It'll be so long we'll have to pause the game, come back
Yeah,
a month
yeah.
later,
We this might
and
be a
pick up
6 hour
exactly where we
stream.
left
We
off.
might actually miss WrestleMania because the match never ends.
Yes.
I'm not talking about me, Chin, and Chelsea Green. I mean, we will literally have a match that will never end. There will be no pinfall. As for the new game, my thoughts on it so far, I should have recorded some footage just to kind of have some examples to go off of. The game is an improvement over last year. I'll say that because the game last year was pretty good also. They've updated a lot of the superstars in the game. I forget the exact count. I know that there's like over 140 different wrestlers. Now, some of those wrestlers are like Triple H 2001 era. So some of them are repeats, just different eras. But there is
Gilbert, right? Yeah.
that I don't think Goldberg is in the game. I don't even think Goldberg is in the game.
Oh boy.
They might not have the rights for him. Missy Kaboom,
Oh.
thanks for coming in and hanging out.
How many variations of Doink the Clown? Doink, Dink.
There's one. There's one.
Oh,
I don't think
okay.
Dink's in the game, but there is a Doink the Clown. There is a Doink the Clown.
And Naked Midian.
There might be a Midian. I don't know about Naked Midian. I think your hope is a little too high with that one. You could. Well, the thing with the WWE 2K games is you can make any character any wrestler from any promotion, and like Mr. Chonk and I, we've been playing these wrestling games for God knows, so like we've been friends.
25 years?
Yeah, like we've been friends playing the games together since the early 2000s, but I think our dips into the wrestling video games is even before that. But like create a character that was kind of introduced in maybe the late 90s, early 2000s in like the N64 video games, but now it's just so much different. Like you could I don't really make the characters myself anymore because they have a feature where you can just download other people's creations. It's like a whole marketplace. People create the characters and they offer them on the creation online thing, and you can just download them. So like I'll go, you know what? Brock Lesnar's not in the game for various reasons. I'm just going to go download him, and they have a Brock Lesnar in there with an authentic moveset, looks just like him. Even like the loading screen, startup screen, when you choose him, you can just upload his picture there. The only thing that is missing, and I know that they'll never be able to do it, you can't like put copywritten music in there. So I can't get his actual entrance music, but everything else is pretty authentic.
Yeah, you could make Big Dick Johnson, right?
I'm sure somebody has. You would be surprised. Like the gobbledygookers in there, Big Dick Johnson, like Kenny Omega. He's always on the first page as like most downloaded. Like you can make any character in the game. Very, very cool. One of the first things I did, because The Rock is like one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. So the first thing I do in those video games, I play a match with The Rock. And they have his entrance so often. They must have done scans of him. Because usually he looks a little janky because they don't do a scan. They just kind of go off of pictures and, okay, here's The Rock.
Past games,
Yeah, they must have done a scan because they had a real-to-life accurate, like, entrance. The exact entrance he did at WrestleMania 40 with the Brahma Bull flames and everything is in the game. And to the point where, like, when he's walking down the aisle, like, it's his final boss entrance. So he's, like, talking trash to the fans and everything. It's
How would you say the
awesome.
quality of the baby oil is on him? Do you think that's on? Do you think that's on fleek?
Well, I think Diddy put baby oil in a shortage, so it's there, but it's not.
But it's virtual. It's virtual baby oil, right?
Well, I think
I
think he actually has a hold on virtual baby oil too. It's weird.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
And let's just say there's plenty of baby oil going on in the game. And
it twinkles when he walks down the ramp?
Yes.
That's how much
there's a twinkle
glistens?
in his eye, yes.
Okay.
And if you need more, you can add more virtually by messing with his creative suite. But yes, baby oil all over the place in WWE 2K25. They have some new modes, but I don't want to reveal everything yet because we are trying to do some WWE 2K25 live streams. I did one on Friday. Me and Mr. Chonk are going to do a co-op live stream coming up next month, and you're going to have to come and watch those streams to see what exactly I'm talking about there. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. The only complaint I really have with the WWE 2K series is sometimes I want to play the classic arcade style wrestling game like we grew up on, like No Mercy, WCW and WWE Revenge, and WWE 2K25 is more of a simulation. They're like, if you want to feel like you're a part of Raw and SmackDown and the pay-per-views, this is everything. Like the moves are photorealistic and the stamina.
Sometimes it's too realistic. It's too close to like how it operates in real life.
Yes.
And sometimes you just want a stress reliever and go in and spear the shit out of
Yeah, sometimes I like the fast-paced matches, and in WWE 2K25, you don't really get that because they're simulating everything. Stamina, you'll get out of breath, if your leg is hurting, all of a sudden you're limping, you can't do certain moves
no
anymore.
control stick to get out of every pin and submission?
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. That's too old school for WWE 2K25. But yeah, check out the live streams, and I will show you firsthand at what that game is all about. And in another wrestling news here, this is coming off Elimination Chamber. There seems to be some controversy with Mr. Travis Scott. He was the entertainer that was with The Rock, that did the entrance with The Rock, and he was kind of in the ring during the Cody, John Cena, and The Rock segment. Let me open up this real quick because I got to show you what started this controversy here. So let's go to screen 2, and let me open this up. So there's a lot of controversy because Mr. Travis Scott, apparently he got himself involved physically in the match, and he slapped Cody a little too hard, apparently. So let's watch this clip real quick. And you'll see the slap here. Boom! Let's watch that again real quick so anybody that missed it. Yeah. So obviously nobody wants to be smacked, and apparently he actually injured Cody Rhodes' eardrum when he did that smack. And the very reliable, very truthful, very dependable wrestling dirt sheets are reporting now that there is heat backstage on Travis Scott for slapping Cody Rhodes a little too hard. And people on the internet are kind of rolling with that a little bit, saying, oh, WWE is sloppy, they're bringing in unprofessional people, and blah, 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 blah. And then, 24 hours after that was being reported by the usual suspects, WWE released a video of Travis Scott after the whole segment with The Rock and John Cena and Cody Rhodes, where he came backstage and Triple H was giving him high fives, giving him a hug. The Rock came back, said, hey, great man, blah, 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 blah. So that kind of shits on the whole narrative that he's in trouble and that people are upset with him for slapping Cody Rhodes a little too hard. Mr. Chonk, what do you think about that situation?
Ultimately, if Cody Rhodes doesn't give a shit and he's willing to accept a little bit of reality to help make the storyline feel more real, as long as he wasn't in any danger, who cares?
Yeah. So here's
if Cody Rhodes was legitimately injured and couldn't compete as a result, maybe that'd be different. But sometimes some of these feuds, accidents happen, or maybe you go a little bit too real, and they're trained to take some physicality in the ring, and as long as he's not, getting a concussion, maybe that would have drawn the line for me. If Travis Scott gave him a concussion, I would say, okay, maybe he shouldn't have went that far.
Yeah.
Did I want his eardrum to get hit? No, but if Cody Rhodes doesn't care and he's performing the same way he's always performed and he doesn't care, then it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. So I think a lot of the people that are quote unquote offended by that, they haven't been wrestling fans for too long. What people need to understand is, for one thing, these guys, when they're doing a segment like that, when it's not really a physical segment, it's a talking point, and then physicality happens, they want it to come across well. They want it to come across as good. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that Mr. Travis Scott was instructed to legitimately slap Cody. They do it as safe as possible. You also have to realize all the adrenaline that's happening in those moments. With something like that, when you're running off of that kind of adrenaline that Cody was probably running off of right then and there, he didn't feel that at all.
Right.
Usually,
The next day,
it's
maybe.
kind of how adrenaline works.
But if you show
a
that
couple
clip
hours
again,
later,
his face was already red.
yes,
prior
he
to the
already
slap.
got smacked by the heavyweight title belt.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
legit, like, you heard the belt hitting his head.
Mhm.
And that's what, in a big segment like that, when you're in the ring with The Rock, you're in the ring with John Cena, you know that this segment is going to be something that will be talked about for possibly years to come. You want it to come across as real, and unfortunately, for those that are a little sensitive, when you want a segment to come across as real, you want it to be real. It's not uncommon for a wrestler to be like, look, listen, I know that this is wrestling, but legitimately punch me, legitimately smack me, legitimately do this, legitimately make me bleed.
In the most safest way possible,
Yes.
right? We don't want to lose the talent and not have them compete.
And then when you have somebody that isn't exactly a trained professional wrestler, and they might be confused at, like, listen, I know wrestling's fake, so how do we do this? Like, you don't want him to go light on the smack, because you don't want it to come, like, The Rock, John Cena, Cody Rhodes could have done their part of that perfectly, but when it came to Travis Scott, if they told him, hey, don't really hit him, hold back, he might have screwed the whole thing up by doing like a fake
He would have been a
punch or
meme
something.
all over the internet
Yeah.
because it would have looked,
So
he would have been the final puss.
Exactly. They probably came to an agreement that they're like, listen, smack the shit out of me and make it look real. And that's what he did. Like, maybe it's like, listen, hit me in the face, watch the ear. Maybe he hit the ear by accident or something. I'm sure Cody is fine with it. I'm sure he's okay, especially after the reception that segment got. I'm sure he's perfectly fine. And if there is any issues, I'm sure down the line, Cody will get his comeuppance on the final boss, John Cena, and Travis Scott. And I'm sure Travis Scott might have something waiting for him at the end of that whole thing.
Yeah.
You never know.
I'm hearing that he is actively training for some involvement in the WrestleMania plans.
So you know what? His smack might have slipped and, damaged Cody Rhodes' eardrum. So maybe Cody Rhodes' fist might slip and accidentally punch him in the face. You never know.
Yeah.
Like, we can't be super sensitive about this kind of stuff, especially.
And sometimes real heat makes the story better, right?
Absolutely.
The first iteration of John Cena versus The Rock, right? There was some real beef between the two. That wasn't just made up completely.
Absolutely.
Right? There was some real beef. They eventually squashed the beef. But I would tell you that having real beef between the two made that
makes good
story.
Content. Yeah.
Yes,
And
absolutely. And
like,
as much as I'm not a big Travis Scott fan, he's not my cup of tea.
I don't
think they needed him. I don't think they needed him at all to begin with to progress it. But hey, they thought that was going to get more viewers.
They didn't need him for like
more shock value.
Yeah, they didn't need him for present wrestling fans. What Travis Scott is doing is he's attracting people that aren't watching wrestling.
Wrestling, yes.
They're attracting the hip hop community. They're attracting his fans to come over and check it out.
Yes,
that's what they like. And if they
I can't fault them for that. I can't fault them for
that. If they get even like 15% of those people that aren't watching, that check it out, and they're like, hey, I kind of like this. I kind of like The Rock. I want to watch more. That's their goal. They're trying to bring in a new audience other than the people that they already have brought in. They know that The Rock and John Cena are going to bring in the classic wrestling fans. They're looking for people that aren't classic wrestling fans, people that haven't given wrestling a chance yet. Now they have new eyeballs on the product because of Travis Scott. Even though he didn't do much, the fact that he's there brought people in to see that. and that's what their ultimate goal was.
What are the odds this is a Mike Tyson situation all over again?
Um, I mean, maybe I'm biased. I think Mike Tyson might have had a little more clout than Travis Scott, but
No, I mean Travis Scott turns on The Rock and
I'm
John
not
Cena
sure.
later down the line. That was the whole
Maybe,
Mike Tyson thing, right?
yeah. I can't see like Cody Rhodes and Travis Scott all of a sudden being bosom buddies, though. This, I think Travis Scott kind of fits in with the whole deal with The Rock. I think we're more than likely going to see John Cena turn again at some point down the road this year.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine him retiring.
Yeah.
Not
That would be
back
funny
to
though,
his
and it would be
baby face.
memorable if he did retire as a heel, but I don't think it's going to happen that way.
No, neither do I.
Speaking of which, let's head right into the Raw discussion because we had some controversy on there also. Raw starts out with CM Punk, and CM Punk, he keeps on bringing out these, like, it's hard for me to decide, like, where is his best mic work since he's came back, because for the longest time, for about a year now, I thought his best mic work was when he did the whole thing with Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, right before WrestleMania last year, where Drew McIntyre was sitting on the announcer desk, and I thought that was a really, really good promo. But now, this Monday, he also did a really, really good promo, and it was more of his classic style, where it was almost like a pipe bomb. I guess some people would say it was a pipe bomb. He was kind of going off script, talking about some things that they probably weren't too keen on him talking about. He kind of called out John Cena, called out The Rock a little bit, and basically it all ended with Seth Rollins coming out and them two brawling. So it looks like, without a shadow of a doubt now, we are going to be getting at least Seth Rollins and CM Punk at WrestleMania. I'm assuming that somehow Roman Reigns is going to get thrown in there too.
I mean, if that's what they're doing, that's fine. But then why are they having the cage match on Monday? Unless the cage match is going to get interrupted and never actually occur.
So CM Punk, Seth Rollins had the brawl, and I think shortly later on in the show, Adam Pearce announced this coming Monday on Raw, as in tomorrow, we're going to have a steel cage match between Seth Rollins and CM Punk. Their first match was excellent. The best match I think that we've seen all year so far. So I think, I don't want to shoot myself in the foot here. I think that this cage match might be where Roman Reigns enters into the picture.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
I think it's going to be one of those things where just for WrestleMania season, Roman's going to be showing up on Raw, maybe at least tomorrow night, because he does have some unfinished business with mainly Seth Rollins, but on a smaller scale, CM Punk also.
Yeah, what's that favor, right? Is there any?
And Roman, if you remember at the Royal Rumble, was kind of bitching at CM Punk that he was responsible for him being eliminated. So I think Reigns is a natural wedge that can be put into that storyline, because I don't think Punk and Rollins is going to end tomorrow night. I definitely don't think that's going to happen. Even though cage matches usually is an end to the feud, I don't even know if the cage match will have an official winner. I think it's going to end up with
maybe
Roman
it won't really happen.
involved.
Maybe Roman interrupts the whole thing before it starts.
No. I don't think WWE wants to get into the lines of false advertising. I think they'll have a cage match. I just don't know if it's going to end in a pinfall victory or escape the cage. I think Roman. Well, I mean, technically, I think steel cage matches for the most part are no disqualification. So we'll have some sort of victory, but who it will be, I'm not sure. In my opinion, I think since Rollins already took a loss to CM Punk, I think it's time for him to get a win. So somehow Roman creates that friction by doing something that will incapacitate CM Punk and allow Rollins to escape the cage.
I mean, if anything, Roman is more mad at Rollins because Rollins did the stomp on the steps.
But I could see something
he's
where,
mad
like,
at CM Punk.
let's say Roman's trying to spear Rollins, and Rollins jumps over him, and he spears CM Punk, and Rollins sneaks out of the cage door or something. That's the thing with the steel cage match. Like, Rollins could get a victory, but he doesn't get a pinfall. He doesn't get a submission. So it's not like a definitive end.
Yeah.
It's not like he topped over CM Punk. It would kind of put Rollins in more of a heel type aspect, though, if he took a cheap way out.
Well, I think he's due for a change, in all honesty.
Yeah, the goofy dressing all weird and the sing-along with the Rollins stuff, it's kind of ran its course, at least with me. He's been doing it for a good 4 years now. He can still have the exaggerated outfits and stuff, but I do think he needs a little bit of a character change, a little bit, get a little darker side to him or something.
Yeah, because, the fans are really more behind Jey Uso, right? Jey Uso's the one where they're chanting his name all the time. I think that he's not going to be changing.
They need to get some.
So he could
heels.
be that guy they sing along to, and Seth Rollins can be back to his other character.
Definitely. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the cage match. Anything involving Seth Rollins and CM Punk is entertaining to me.
Yes.
So the next point that I've had on Raw, I said that it's odd to me how unimportant the tag titles feel on Raw, whereas on SmackDown they seem to be like a major focus. It's almost
I think there's a lack of depth on Raw. That's the issue.
Like Raw, I feel doesn't even need their own tag team titles. I think that they could do something similar to what they do on with the women's tag titles and just be
on both shows.
Yeah, I think if they had it on both shows, the roster is deep enough that it would make sense, and they have a nice tag division. When you're doing separate tag divisions for each show, it's just not there. The depth just isn't there.
Raw really has the the War Raiders, right?
Yeah.
And then they have the Creed brothers. I mean, those are the. And how many matches have they had already?
A decent amount. And then
because and Raw, you have the Judgment Day, but very little is left of the Judgment Day.
And the Judgment Day always feels like it's like two single stars put together to form a tag team. Raw has a lot of single stars that we don't necessarily want to see in tag team matches.
I mean, the Judgment Day had something when they had JD McDonough. I mean, it's a shame that he got injured.
Yeah. Kind of. JD and Carlito, I guess, or JD and even Dominic.
JD Finn. JD and Finn.
But Finn in my eyes is a single star. Finn in my eyes should not be relegated to tag.
They're not really pushing him that way. I don't know what they're doing.
I'm not sure what they're doing with him.
It's not very clear.
Yeah. It seems like they have a plan. They keep hinting at things. They hint at some sort of deception between him and Liv Morgan. But it just seems to be moving at a snail's pace. It doesn't seem to really be going anywhere.
I mean, if I was booking things, and I would do things completely differently with Finn, and you would not agree with this at all. I would have him have moved to SmackDown or the Wyatt family back to Raw and have something. The look on your face.
What do you think the Wyatt family could do on Raw?
I think it could be Finn Balor turning back into the Demon Finn Balor and having some program with the Wyatt.
That's
I
can't think of it. Right now, the only person involved with the Wyatt Six, and she's not even officially involved, is Alexa Bliss. That's the only person that has any interest level with me. Bo Dallas, no. Anybody else, no. Nikki Cross, if she was out of that character, maybe.
Yeah.
But
that would breathe new life into the Wyatts. Nobody's seen the demon character from Finn Balor in how many years?
It's been at least 3, I think.
Yeah.
Even when he had the thing with Edge, he didn't do the demon at all, which was weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
There'd be a reason for that. There'd be a reason for that, right? You don't just bring it out for the sake of bringing it out. There's a reason for it.
I almost think, at this point, I think the Wyatt Six might fit better on like NXT. I really do. Because I don't think they fit on the main roster. It's just like they can do the spooky videos, but then the second the bell rings, it's like it's a bathroom break. Like there's nobody is looking forward to a Wyatt Six match. They're looking forward to the spookiness. They're looking forward to stories. They like the eerie stuff that goes on. But the second they have a match, it's like a popcorn fart. It's like a popcorn fart in church. It's like nobody cares. Nobody's interested in that. And I said this before. I don't mean to shit on Bray Wyatt, but like, can somebody tell me the best ever Bray Wyatt match? The only one that I could ever think of that had like resolute with me even a little bit was this one with John Cena at like WrestleMania 30.
Yeah.
And that was mainly because it was John Cena.
Yes.
There is no other match of Bray Wyatt that I can remember.
I'm not saying the Wyatt family is a great group of people. I'm saying that Finn Balor could inject some life into that.
Maybe, but
you need the right partner. You need the right partner to inject some life into that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Chad Gable thing wasn't working. The Miz thing wasn't working, right? None of that really injected any life into it.
If I did fantasy booking with Finn Balor, I would get him involved with Karrion Kross. I'd get Karrion Kross to get.
I was going to say that next. That was my plan. Yes.
Somehow.
And in fact, there were some memes floating around. We're seeing Dom Mysterio talk to Karrion Kross.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Karrion Kross getting involved with the Judgment Day would be interesting. Yeah.
He could be the secret weapon behind all the heel turns.
It's sad to me because like somebody like Finn probably isn't going to be making it on WrestleMania. He's probably not going to be on the card because he's just kind of in the shuffle. Somebody like Dom, unfortunately, is like on a higher like totem pole than him. Even though like in ring wise, I would watch a Finn Balor match over Dom Mysterio.
Agreed,
but just character wise, WWE will probably find a place for Dom before they do Finn. Unless they do a Finn versus Dom match or something, which, I mean,
who wants to see two heels?
Yeah, and it's like, how much time do they have to create that story? Like they're moving too slow to get that enough for a WrestleMania investment storyline. It's just, I guess it's a wait and see type of thing.
Yeah.
But somehow we went to
issue they had. It's the same issue they had last year, though. I think what happens is they spend so much energy on the top two storylines, which is really going to be the CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman, and then The Rock and Cody, and everything else doesn't get the right treatment.
They're giving Jey Uso and Gunther some time. It's just like they're not hitting the marks to make that feel important yet. We'll see. I'm not even sure.
No,
like,
I mean,
if I was forced to book that feud, I don't even know what I would do. I'd have to do something like have Gunther really do something dastardly to Jey Uso to make fans just want Jey Uso to get his comeback bad. And so far, it just hasn't happened yet.
I think what's hard is Jey is barely average on the mic. Yeah. And as much as I like Gunther's performance in the ring, he's only average on the mic.
He's one-dimensional.
He's not a Seth Rollins, CM Punk. I would even say Roman Reigns has gotten a little bit better on the mic. I think Roman is maybe a bit better than Gunther at this point.
On the mic, sure.
Yes, on the mic, yes. And that's the issue, is you have two people that are average at best on the mic. And you're hoping that the in-ring performance, helps offset it. And now the way I'm seeing things shape out, I don't think Jey and Gunther will be a main event on either night.
No, unless they did something like they would have to literally like have Jey Uso somehow on Raw with his kid in the ring and have Gunther like freaking throw the kid down on the mat or something. Like they got to do something to get people invested in the story, because Jey Uso yeeting and just overcoming the odds isn't going to do it. They've ran that with...
Yes.
They ran the same story with Sami Zayn last year.
Yeah.
And Sami
Yeah.
Zayn overcame the odds and won. Is this the only story they can do with Gunther? The underdog overcoming the odds and beating him?
It
Like,
sounds like so far,
it's
yeah.
like you're recycling the same story from last year, just giving it to Jey Uso because he's selling some T-shirts.
Right.
I don't
Because we
know. I'm
pretty
not
much know
really.
what the two main events will be. At this point, it's going to be Seth and CM Punk,
Yeah,
and
if
whatever
you're
their
if
thing's
you're
going to
looking at
be.
just star power, it would have to be Seth, CM Punk, potentially Roman in there too, and Cena,
Obviously,
Cody,
Cody.
and whatever involvement
And
The
and I
Rock will
hate to
have.
say it, the way it's been portrayed is they're the top two storylines, and everything else is a very distant second.
Yes.
I'm not saying I'm not invested in the other matches, but they've put so much energy into those top two feuds that everything else just feels so secondary.
Yes. Moving on from the tag
Yeah.
team situation and the Finn Balor and Jey Uso Gunther, there was a big revelation on Raw that happened. Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky. Neither of us called this. In fact, I think we laughed at the idea of Io Sky winning the title. I think we literally did that towards the end of the show last
Yes.
week. And little did we know, Io Sky did win the title on Raw. And I would have to say it's a clean win. There was a little bit of
Yes.
distraction, but it wasn't like a intentional distraction. Like Rhea just got herself distracted.
It
And
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't that. It was like she's off her game because Bianca Belair was being Bianca Belair.
yeah. Um, so Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky. Io Sky ended up winning the title. Bianca Belair was sitting at ringside, and Rhea, I guess, was kind of trash talking a little bit. They had a little bit of a shoving match. I know some fans are trying to argue that, Bianca shoved Rhea, so that should have been a disqualification. Keep your pants on a little bit. I think
Yeah.
I think we're fine. There wasn't an attack or anything. It was just a shove, and I think Rhea shoved her first. Um,
Yeah.
the one thing I'll say though, it was a fun moment for those that are fans of Io Sky. It's always a fun moment when there's a title change on Raw, especially when it's unpredictable. Those are those type of moments we like to see in wrestling.
I didn't see that coming at all.
No, neither did I. But I believe there is more to the story that would be played out over time. So one thing I noticed was after that match, I think almost immediately on YouTube they posted backstage footage of Rhea Ripley kind of having a meltdown about losing, um, almost in like a manic state, I would say. And my bold prediction for this is I think Rhea's going to get the title back before WrestleMania. I don't think Io Sky is going to be holding this title for long, and I think she's going to get it back in a not so polite way. I don't think she's going to be a baby face when she gets that title back. I think she's going
So
to
you
do
don't see a
something.
three-way match at WrestleMania
Maybe,
for
but
this?
I think Ripley will win this title before WrestleMania. Maybe they'll change when
It's
she wins
possible.
it. Maybe they'll bring Io Sky in for a triple threat. I'm almost wanting to go on a limb, and this is a much deeper thing. And this is some really oddball prediction here. So a lot of people have been talking about The Rock and his hand motions when he's showing up on TV. So he showed up on TV. He held up three fingers. Last Saturday when the John Cena did his turn, he held up two fingers and then he did the throat cut. Um, I think there might be something with John Cena, The Rock, and Rhea Ripley. I think that Rhea Ripley might be selling her soul, and possibly that might have something to do with her getting her title back from Io Sky. I think that I could see Rhea Ripley coming under The Rock's tutelage on whatever this faction is that he's forming, whatever is going on here. I think that Ripley could get involved in that and be some sort of female counterpart in there.
Could be.
It's a
It's
bold
possible.
prediction, and there's no real hints to that yet, other than me assuming that The Rock holding up fingers and the fingers going down to 2, meaning that he's doing a countdown to something. He's counting like how many people are getting into his faction is what I'm assuming. And then Rhea Ripley kind of going into a manic state and kind of crashing out about losing the title and maybe getting into a desperation mode. And then all of a sudden you got The Rock, willing to, we can get you the title. We can make you a bigger star than you've ever been before.
Right, with Karrion Kross pulling the strings all along.
Yeah, that's another possibility too. No, that's a possibility. Maybe Karrion Kross will get in her ear. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe it's not The Rock. Maybe it's Karrion Kross that gets in her ear.
What is WWE doing with this? You know that every time that he's been on TV, he's like the devil whispering in everybody's ear.
Yeah, maybe
are they just doing that to give him TV?
There.
Are they doing that just to give him TV time, or do they really have something where he's been, like the pallbearer behind the scenes the whole time? Yeah. Whispering in everybody's ear, getting them to, do his bidding or act a certain way.
So we have somebody in chat. Edward says, "Love the hat, but slow down the message a bit." Believe it or not, we actually tried to have Mr. Chonk slow down the message a bit, and that's, I think, as slow as he can get it.
That as slow as it can get. Yeah. Thanks to
the gods
not
at Temu.
Not Amazon.
Yeah, the gods at Temu. There's probably a little Chinese man controlling that and getting all of his information right now.
So for those who
can't for the Final Puss hat.
See it, it says Final Puss.
Yes,
it's supposed to say Final Boss.
Yeah, he meant to get Final Boss. It only
for the
says
Rock,
Final Puss.
And it says Final Puss, and I wonder why it says that.
Yeah, it's not a joke.
So strange. Yeah.
I think you might be onto something with the Karrion Kross getting involved with Rhea Ripley. I thought maybe it was The Rock. Maybe that's just wishful thinking, that trying to get Rhea Ripley involved in like a main event storyline. But Karrion Kross, I think, would be interesting too. Would there be some sort of thing with her and Charlotte down the road, or not? What, Scarlett, not Charlotte Flair. We've seen that already. Her and Scarlett. I don't know. That'd be interesting. That would get me a little more invested in the Karrion Kross stuff, and maybe he can just stop being the whisperer backstage and actually get his ass in the ring and do something. We'll have to see.
Because I don't know what's going to happen with Bianca. Bianca's in this match with Rhea, but she's completely distracted.
Yeah.
With the stuff with Jade Cargill and...
we'll talk about the SmackDown stuff in a little bit, too. But yeah, she's got something going on both shows. So we'll see how that all goes. But yeah, that's kind of my takes from Raw. Looking forward to tomorrow night for the cage match, seeing where some of these stories progress, seeing where Rhea Ripley goes from here also. And I'm not sure what other matches were announced, but a steel cage match has got me sold already. In other wrestling news and headlines, this is more of an AEW section here. Rey Fenix, I don't think there was any official announcement, but from all the usual suspects are saying that Rey Fenix was released from his contract. Apparently with terms, though. And those terms being that he's not allowed to say naughty things about AEW. So, could you imagine working for a job and you don't want to work there anymore, but you're under contract, so you can't just like up and quit? I guess you could, but then you'd be in a lawsuit or whatever. And the job's like, listen, we know you're upset. We know you don't want to be here. We don't want to hold you captive, but you have to sign this paper and say that you're not allowed to say mean things about us. Even though we did things that you probably want to talk about and you probably want to discuss, but you're not allowed. You can't say that, or else we're not going to let you go. So that's just very strange to me.
How long was left on his contract?
So his official contract was up. It was over, but what happened was Tony Khan added injury time. So he was injured a few times during his, let's say it was a 3-year contract. Mm-hmm. And so basically Tony Khan was like, oh, well, you were out for 6 months for your leg injury, so we're adding 6 more months onto your contract.
Why don't he just take the 6 more months and eat it and then go do what he wants?
Well, yeah, that's usually what any normal businessman would have done.
No. I mean for Ray Phoenix, meaning that he wants out so bad that he doesn't want to
So
do the
the thing
additional
with
injury
wrestling
time.
contracts, a lot of times they're not just, hey, you have to work for us for 3 years. A lot of times it's, here's how many dates you're expected to do per month. Here's how many times we're going to need you on television, and you kind of agree to that. You're like, oh, okay, it's a 3-year deal. Over the 3-year period, I'm going to make 21 appearances in wrestling matches or whatever. So what Tony Khan was doing in AEW was he added on the extra time for Ray Phoenix, and then whatever amount of matches he was supposed to do during that 6-month period, who knows? I don't know what the contract looked like, but he wasn't booking him for any matches. So I think I had this discussion on a past episode, but it's like, if you have somebody under contract, they are willing to work, they're healthy, they're ready to work, and they have a set amount of matches that they need to do to fulfill their obligation. And then
So it's not just length of time;
yeah,
it's number of appearances.
yes.
And if
But
your
then
booker doesn't give you
he's
those
not letting
appearances,
him do those appearances.
the contract keeps going and going until you fulfill them, and they can draw it out
that was
indefinitely.
my argument. That was my argument. And I think if Ray Phoenix spent the money and got a lawyer, I think they could have argued that, like, this contract is null and void because he's not letting him fulfill his obligations. He's keeping him under He's basically holding him hostage and saying, you can't do anything until we come to terms on this deal.
Yeah, this is
and
very
we're not going to
similar.
book you for any matches. So it's like, if he had 5 matches left on the contract, we're not going to book you for any matches, so you can't work those 5 matches.
This is very similar. I know you don't follow basketball. This is like the Ben Simmons shit that was happening the other year when he got traded to like the Nets, and he was acting like a d-bag, and they wouldn't play him, and he wanted to play, but they wouldn't play him because he acted like an idiot.
Yeah,
and he's like, well, and it's like the reverse of that.
Yeah, the
like,
thing
instead
with
of
Ray
Phoenix
being
though,
the
idiots AEW.
Yeah, with Ray Phoenix, like he didn't do anything wrong.
Right. Yes. It's like that, but reversed.
Yeah. The whole issue was that Tony Khan knew he wasn't going to re-sign and was going to WWE, and he got.
But he's using that out of spite to like, okay, I'm going to draw this out as long as I can.
Ray Phoenix didn't disparage the company. He didn't do anything. He just decided he didn't want to work there anymore, and he was going to sign with a different company. AEW, they've taken advantage of that so many times. They brought Edge in. They brought in Sasha Banks, so many people that had issues with WWE or didn't agree with how they were being handled, and they went to another company. Now when somebody's like wasn't happy with AEW, wanted to go to another company, he's having like a little shit in his pants about it. I just think it's bad business. I don't think he's a good businessman for things like that. And he's burning bridges. He's burning bridges not just with Ray Phoenix. Maybe he doesn't care if he burns a bridge there, but he's also, this is very public. So now people, let's say Randy Orton, he sees that. He's like, oh, you know what? My contract's coming up. I want to continue wrestling for a few more years. He's not going to look at AEW anymore because now he's like, oh, wait a second. You know, they might offer me a lot of money, but look how they treated this guy. Look what they did. They literally held him hostage for however many months. Why would I want to work somewhere like that? If I'm not happy, why would I want to work somewhere that's going to force me to continue to work there? Just because they got in their feelings about something I said or a decision I made, you know.
And I imagine with those contracts, they're non-compete. Like if AEW's not putting him on television, he can't go wrestle for another indie promotion to make some money.
No, and that's the thing. It was kind of false advertising with AEW because one of the things they said at the beginning was, "Oh, we're gonna let our guys work independent shows and stuff," but now, like they did the same thing to Ricky Starks. They said, "Nope. You got to cancel that appearance. We're not going to let you do that because you're not on my good side. You're not one of my favorites, so we're not going to let you do that." It's just bad business. It's bad business. You're burning bridges when you do things like that. That's my opinion anyway. I mean, people might disagree. The AEW diehards might see nothing wrong with that, but there is things wrong with that. You're dealing with people's livelihoods, and that's not cool. In other wrestling news and headlines here, Mr. MJF, he did an interview recently, and his claim is that if you are a WWE wrestler and you aren't watching AEW, or you say that you're not watching AEW, that you're a liar. So his thought process is, if you're in WWE, you should be watching AEW also, because I don't, to be honest
If
with you,
you're a wrestler in WWE, you probably don't have the time. In all
yeah, that's
honesty,
kind of how I think. It's like
they're busy, traveling,
they're busy
gym,
focusing on themselves and their
appearances.
careers.
Yeah.
Like now,
Do you even think they're watching other parts of the WWE product?
I think some of them
Probably,
are. So
probably
here's
only if
yeah.
it has to do with them bettering their own career, not because they're super fans.
Yeah. So to be fair, I think that there are people in WWE that might check out AEW, because I think that there's people that are friends and acquaintances with people from all
Maybe a
different
little bit,
companies.
but they're not going to watch it week to week.
Yeah, I think AEW, their roster is much more invested in WWE than the WWE roster is invested in AEW.
Oh, I agree.
Because I can guarantee you, the entire AEW roster pretty much was probably watching the Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber. They probably watched Raw every week and SmackDown.
Of course.
I can almost guarantee that. Let me get the exact quote here. Let me look this up real quick. So his exact quote was, hold on, I gotta change the size of this here. Come on. I always got these shady websites. His exact quote was, if you ask a WWE star, have you been watching AEW, and they say no, one of two things is happening. One, they are lying through their fucking teeth, or two, they don't care enough about the industry to study what's going on in it. WWE wrestlers don't need to study AEW. I'm just going to say that. There's some veteran wrestlers there that people probably admire and they respect, somebody like Edge. But there is nobody in WWE that's watching an Orange Cassidy match because they're trying to study the industry. I'm going to say that right now with full confidence. I think he's a little I think he's playing his character a little bit. He's got a little bit of egotism. He's got a little bit of an ego, saying that. I think he doesn't want to. I think he's also trying to make himself believe that he made the right decision in staying with AEW. If that's even what happened. I mean, he talks about that there was a bidding war for him to come to WWE, but none of us ever heard about that. He just claims that it happened. I will fully stay on my stance that he should come to WWE at some point. I think they'll do a lot more with him than what AEW is willing to do and capable of doing. I think he's just trying to make himself believe that he made the right decision, to be honest with you. I don't think he truly believes what he's saying there. I think he's just trying to be a company man and try to put his company on a pedestal that it's not really quite at yet, or ever will be. Who knows, depending on who you ask. That's just my thoughts on that, though. Moving on from there, we do need to talk about the AEW Revolution card coming up tonight. Actually, tonight I will be checking out the pay-per-view. Just I don't think I'm going to be able to watch it all tonight. But let's run down the card real quick and see how we feel about what is going on here. I think I have this listed from what will likely... Well, you know what? I'm missing something on here, but you know what? I'm probably missing the one pre-show match with the Costco guys. And I think it was the Costco guys, Orange Cassidy, and the Briscoe versus Johnny TV and the Maxine male models. I'd assume that the Costco guys are going to win that. They seem to be there.
Rizzler.
Yeah, maybe the Rizzler will be there. You never know. That's the pre-show. But the main show, these are the matches that are announced. They have a lot of matches here. So, God, I'm going to have to, split my watch session on this because this is too much for me to watch in one sitting here. So they got Kazuki Okada, which is the guy that just says bitch. I think that's the only thing he can say in English. Not trying to be offensive, but that's kind of how they show him on television. All he does is make faces and then say bitch. He's taking on Brody King for the Continental Championship. Brody King is to me, he is like a creator wrestler in SmackDown vs. Raw that
Yes.
you don't make any edits to. He's just a default character. There's
And
no
now that
personality there.
I guess without Aleister Black being on
It's even worse for him.
AEW,
Yeah,
exactly. Yes.
It's like at least he was in like a faction and whatever. They could kind of hide. This guy is bland. He is like white bread. He is like chicken with no seasoning.
Yes.
He just looks very generic. He's got the Mickey Mouse tattoos. He's just a big guy. He's got no character. He's barking like he's Braun Breaker, like he's the Junkyard Dog, like he's Scott Steiner, like he's Rick Steiner. He's not doing anything new. He's not doing anything to stand out. I 100% believe Okada will beat him.
Yeah.
He is one of those AEW people that I just don't see ever coming to WWE. AEW is probably his ceiling. I don't think he's going to be making it much further than that. Unless he has a total character change down the road. I have never seen anything really impressive about him at all whatsoever.
I agree.
Whatsoever.
We've already talked way too long about him.
Yeah. So let's move on to Swerve Strickland and Ricochet. Speaking of whatever. And this is a number 1 contender match for the heavyweight championship, I think. Is it? Don't quote me on that. I'm trying to see. I think it might be for the heavyweight championship. So Ricochet and Swerve Strickland. This feud has been going on for months now. Ricochet apparently stabbed him with a golden pair of scissors. What is with Swerve Strickland doing this stupid stuff where he's constantly being like pegged with barbed wire? He taking needles in the mouth. He had his house burned down by Hangman Adam Page. Why is he trying to be like the new Mick Foley or something?
I don't know.
On like just a lower scale. Because, like,
I don't know.
This stuff doesn't really interest me. It's like shock value. It's disgusting. It's like blood and guts and stuff like that. That kind of stuff to me is like for somebody that can't go in the ring. And my thing with Swerve Strickland is he can go in the ring. That's the thing. Like, he made it to WWE. And I think that he was kind of put in a bad position in WWE. If they would have moved him from fucking Flop Dollar and his faction, I think Swerve Strickland could have been something. I think they just didn't give him enough time.
I liked what I saw out of him when he was feuding with Hangman Adam Page a little bit.
Like he's a good wrestler.
You know, and then this whole thing with Ricochet, I just think it's falling flat.
So
there's something missing.
I think part of it's falling flat with Ricochet. I also think that Ricochet hasn't done himself any favors with his antics on the internet. He's kind of, the people that were supportive of Ricochet, I think, have turned on him because he's just like, he's trying to be like this Andrew Tate clone. The character he's playing like doesn't fit the person that he is, I guess is the best way to put it. He's like this short little guy. He's trying to dress in suits now, like trying to look like professional and whatever, when really he just looks like a child wearing his dad's clothes.
Yes.
We saw that t-shirt that he had that probably nobody's buying. He can't cut a promo, so he's trying to do the Jericho trick where the fans started booing him, so he decided to turn heel so that he could say that the fans are booing him because he's a good heel.
No, they just don't want to see him.
Yeah, it's just like he made a lot of promises and he didn't deliver on them. He made a lot of promises back when he was in WWE. He claimed that, WWE didn't give me a chance. They never let me cut a promo. I can cut really good promos. I was held back. And then he came to AEW and he's doing all the stuff he did in WWE, and they are letting him cut promos, and he just disappointed everybody.
Yeah.
I think that's what it really boils down to. I'm not looking forward to this match much at all. If I was forced to book it, Swerve Strickland for the win, especially since it's for number one contender for the heavyweight title. Nobody wants to see Jon Moxley versus Ricochet. So Swerve Strickland, end the feud, be done with it, move on, please. Next up, MJF versus Hangman Adam Page. They are trying so hard to make people have some sort of attachment to this feud. It's not working with me. I'm just I can't. Hangman Adam Page just isn't a believable wrestler to me.
You know what the sad part is out
yeah.
of all the angles that AEW has, this is the only one I'm actually caring about.
Yeah, like
And I'm not saying I'm caring about it because I truly am. It's just that if I had to pick,
yeah.
this is the one.
Yeah, if I had to pick like 3 matches from the card, this would be one of them that I'd be somewhat interested in because I do like MJF's work. Just the problem with Hangman Page, like he portrays himself as some sort of cowboy when we know that he really isn't. We've seen like his whole demeanor on the internet. He's a very sensitive guy. He's, basically everything that you would imagine a cowboy to be. He's not. He literally came out on television wearing butterfly jeans. He's he's basically not what he portrays on television, and I think people know that and see that. And now he's trying to be like this unhinged crazy guy that he lights people's homes on fire. And I think just on Dynamite last week, I think MJF teased that he was going to light Hangman on fire, even though of course AEW, they can't do anything correctly and the whole thing looked fake. We saw him throw the lighter before the security even got in the ring, so we knew that.
You know what this reminds me of? I feel like they're trying to create the magic of, what was it in WWE long ago, Stone Cold and Brian Pillman. I feel like
they try to create
that magic.
They try to create these shocking
unhinged
moments.
Yeah, completely unhinged.
They do it too often though. I think that's where they fail. Is that they do it so much that it's not shocking anymore. We made a good example last week when Cody finally said, "Hey, Rock, go fuck yourself." And the crowd went nuts and everyone was happy. In AEW, they can't do that because they do stuff like that every week. The reason the crowd pops so much in WWE when Cody said that was because they don't do that stuff every week. So it's like, people are like, "Oh my God, he said the F word," and whatever. In AEW, they could blow up the arena and people just wouldn't care because we've seen this stuff all the time in AEW. They don't have any more cards to pull out of their hat. They literally
and the thing
don't.
is they're trying magic tricks to do the shock value, where WWE is doing it through story, right?
Yes.
Rather than we're gonna do I'm gonna blow up your house. You know what? That's the Wyatt family shit. Yeah. And that's the only group of people that do it. They don't do that magic trick anywhere else.
So, even though I don't have any mental or emotional investment in the match, just my favorite pick would be MJF to win. That's just the way I'm going with that. I don't think Adam Page needs to win. I any excuse to have Adam Page off of my television, I'd be more happy. Honestly. Next match here, we have the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin versus the Outrunners.
Oh, I'm sorry.
For the tag team title.
That's already boring.
Yeah, so Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin. These are veteran wrestlers here. In the Outrunners, they are literally cosplay 80s wrestlers.
Yes.
I understand people like the gimmick and they think it's funny and blah, 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 blah. Whatever. The internet darlings. They should not win the tag titles here. They should not beat Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. I'm a little upset that they have somebody like Bobby Lashley negated to tag team matches, but it is what it is. Maybe they're trying to do something with this Hurt Syndicate. 100% I see the Hurt Syndicate winning this. The Outrunners, smell you later. Go back to Collision and be stuck in that time warp there. Congratulations on getting a pay-per-view match. Good job. Mercedes Moné versus Momo Wannabe for the TBS title. Momo maybe wanna be somewhere else because I do not see. I don't know who that is. I don't care. It's some Japanese fetish bullshit that AEW loves to do, and they think everybody knows these people. I don't give a fuck who this is. I don't know who it is. Who it is? If they were any good, I would have heard about them. I have no fucking idea. No thanks.
That tells me there's a lack of talent. Where's the talent depth?
It's stupid, and they'll try to make it that she's some sort of legend or something.
Is she like native to the AEW promotion, or is she from one of the indie
this is the first time I've ever heard of this person ever.
Okay.
Maybe she had a match on AEW in somebody's basement on some YouTube show or something, but
where does this pay-per-view fall in like the hierarchy list? Is this their top 3 or 4
Evolution?
pay-per-views of the year?
I'm not sure. I don't think it's top 3, maybe top 5.
Okay.
I think this is probably just somebody that Mercedes wanted to face that she met when she was working in Japan. Honestly, yeah, it's just whatever. I guess it's cool that AEW is trying to do some different things, but you're wasting one of your top talents on somebody nobody knows. Trying to get some mainstream appeal here. You have an opportunity. You're having her face Momo want to be.
Yeah.
So
like, where's Thunder Rosa and folks like that?
Oh, they're stuck
not on this pay-per-view.
In some other feud, but
not on this pay-per-view. I don't see it on this list.
Yeah.
They should be on the card.
Yeah. So then we got Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher in a steel cage. I feel like we've seen this match at least like 3 times now. So Will Ospreay, I think, has proven that he is a talented wrestler. And I do enjoy watching his matches. I think they are a little repetitive, though. I think Will Ospreay is a prime example of somebody that needs some time in NXT. Not that he needs to learn to wrestle, but he needs to learn how to tell the story in the ring. Because it's not all about just doing moves. He needs to learn how to do the moves, make them mean something.
Pace it properly.
Yeah, he needs to learn pacing. He needs to learn how to sell.
He reminds me of ECW. ECW was like, we're going to do as many high-impact moves in 5 minutes as we possibly can.
And then
that's great for a 5-minute match, but the times are different. You're putting on
Will
20-minute
doesn't
matches,
do Will Ospreay doesn't do 5-minute matches. He does like 30-minute matches, and it's just like how many times we're going to see the same stuff.
Yeah.
And then the thing with Kyle Fletcher, he is insistent on thinking that he's like the next Randy Orton. He thinks like people are always saying, "Oh, he looks just like him." No, I don't think he has that aura. I don't think he's that talented. I appreciate that AEW is pushing people other than ex-WWE stars. Kyle Fletcher, I think they're giving him too much too soon, and that's the problem with AEW. Like, their audience is so like, it's almost like a cult. So whatever they push at their audience down their throats, they're gonna spew it back up, and they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, best stuff ever." Yep. Like, they're so afraid to be critical of the product that they're watching because they don't want to unjustify them watching it. So everything AEW does, they're gonna say is the best thing ever. And
because there's a difference between AEW and WWE.
Yeah.
AEW sounds like to me that it's like a FUBU of wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to go and listen to the fans and give the fans what they want. Mm-hmm. Rather than WWE, that's not that they're not listening to the fans and listening to like what they're going to buy and whatnot, but they're not just going to write the storylines and giving in to what they see in social media. Yeah. That plays a small factor, but they're thinking long term, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. AEW is just like looking at Twitter. And they're like, "Oh, okay. Well, the fans respond this way.
Oh, look,
so
the fans say that Kyle Fletcher looks like Randy Orton. Let's make him look like more like Randy Orton.
Let's keep pushing him.
Yeah,
even if he's not, worthy of that push.
He's got some learning to do, but we'll see. I mean, they're friends apparently, so maybe they'll give us something good there.
They should be pushing like Powerhouse Hobbs. Yes, also, not on this pay-per-view.
So we got Konosuke Takeshita versus Takeshita versus Kenny
Yeah,
Omega.
MJF isn't here, buddy,
Yeah.
so be careful with that one.
Kenny Omega for the International Championship. This one's hard to tell because I know that they're pushing Takeshita as like a main event type heel, and I think it would be a little too soon for him to like lose the title to Kenny Omega. So I guess AEW has a decision they have to make there. Do they want the fans to have some like celebration moment with Kenny Omega winning a title, or do they want to make Takeshita a mega heel? I think this is a kind of
I don't know. It depends
draw
on what's
line
their
in the
long-term.
sand here with that.
I'm assuming this is all part of the storyline of Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay versus the
Don
Callis family. Yeah. So what's their long-term plan with that, right?
I think if they want this to be long-term, Takeshita needs to leave with the championship somehow here. I don't think it's time for Omega to win the championship. That maybe my opinion. People might disagree. That's fine. We got Timeless Tony Storm versus Mariah May in a Hollywood-ending Falls Count Anywhere match. So with Timeless Tony Storm, they brought her back. They kind of had her change her character a little bit in this whole like amnesia thing where she thought she was a up and coming Tony Storm. Now she's back as Timeless Tony Storm. In my opinion, I think the Tony Storm Mariah May stuff is over. It's played out.
It's overplayed. It was done well the first time. And this tells me they don't know what they're doing with the women's division at all.
Yeah. Because like
they're rehashing the same stories because they don't know what to do.
This is the first time in a while though that they are promoting the actual women's heavyweight title as a bigger title than the one Sasha Banks has, a TBS title. So I appreciate that because for the longest time they kept promoting the TBS title as the main women's title. Now at least this is getting a little more focused than Mercedes versus Wannabe. So Hollywood ending Falls Count Anywhere. I would only assume that this is the end of the feud here. And I'm excited to see Mariah May move on from this. I'm excited to see Tony Storm move on from this. I'm hoping Tony Storm can either evolve this timeless character or get rid of it at some point soon because it's just the same stuff over and over again isn't going to cut it anymore. The puffy faces, turning everything black and white.
For her to get over that, she needs to be as far away from Mariah May.
Yeah, separate them two. Get Mariah May involved in some other storyline. Get Tony Storm involved in something else. I think that there's something with Mariah May and Mercedes. I think they could move them into a feud together. And then Timeless Tony Storm, I'm not sure where they go from there. Maybe get her involved with Chris Stratlander or something. I'd like to see that. But, yeah, hopefully this is the end of that feud, and they can move on from there. And the last match on the card, I'm sure you're super excited for this.
No.
So we are going back in a time machine, and we are heading straight back to 2014 WWE. And we're going to have a Jon Moxley match. Let's just call him Dean Ambrose. And he's going to take on... Well, actually, this is the first time ever because WWE at this time, Edge was actually retired.
Yes.
So we're going to have Jon Moxley versus Edge. I mean, hold on. Cope. Jon Moxley versus Cope. What a banger of a main event.
What are the odds AEW pulls some shit and Cope wins the championship? Please tell me no.
Slim to none. I'm saying slim to none. Will we see Cope with the AEW championship at some point? Maybe. Will it be tonight?
This guy doesn't have many years left. Yeah. I mean, what the hell are they doing?
I don't think it would be the right call. Not that I even like Jon Moxley as champion. I'm so tired of this.
I mean, Cope. Look, he's great at cutting a promo and getting people behind him and putting some butts in seats. But he's at the level of his career he should not be winning championships.
He shouldn't be facing Jon Moxley. Cope. If Tony Khan
or at least not one-on-one. He shouldn't. He should be facing Jon Moxley one-on-one. that should be mixed match,
If
right?
Tony Khan knew what he was doing, so you got somebody like Kyle Fletcher on the roster. You're trying to push Kyle Fletcher as a main eventer.
Right.
That is who somebody like Cope should be
Hope.
facing,
Yes.
not
Yes.
John Moxley. You don't want to face two people together that are above the age of 40 that aren't going to be able to give you a decade of wrestling of content. John
And if you're trying to
Moxley,
look at this like a passing of the torch, isn't John Moxley already one of their top stars?
he is.
He doesn't need
He's held the
Cope
title
to
more so
establish
than
him.
anybody in that company.
He doesn't need Cope to establish the credibility of John Moxley.
This is such a it's a WWE main event. Cope versus Swerve would be better. Cope versus Will Ospreay would be better. Kyle Fletcher, take a shitta. We haven't seen Cope versus Kenny Omega. Not that Omega's young, but at least it's a new matchup. At least people would be
Yes.
interested in that. Cope versus Brody King. We've seen little bits and pieces of that, but I'd be more interested in that than Cope versus John Moxley. Come on. And then you got Moxley's little goons too. You got Wheeler Useless. You got fucking Cesaro from WWE. He's great wrestler, great talent, just in the wrong story. You got the deer in headlights. What's her name?
Marina something.
Marina, Dan Marino. You got all those guys in there.
Marina Shafir.
Marina Shafir. Guarantee you will probably end with John Moxley winning, then choking Cope with a plastic bag or something.
Yes.
And then likely somebody will come and try to save him. Maybe it'll be Daniel Bryan finally. Maybe it'll be Darby Allin. Who the hell knows? Not interested. John Moxley will win. I don't see Cope leaving with the title.
He might get the final laugh at the end with a nice little spear, but no way he wins this match.
It's been a long time since a pay-per-view card has had a bathroom break match as the main event. So congratulations, AEW. You've broken the Guinness Book of World Records, because it's been a long time that I've been so uninterested in a main event on a wrestling card than seeing that right there.
I was thinking differently. The whole thing looks like a bathroom break.
I'm interested in the MGF Hangman. Somewhat interested
maybe a little bit.
Tony Storm, Mariah May. Got some interest in the Will Ospreay match, but yeah, this is like a bad episode of SmackDown.
This makes me feel like I should go to Taco Bell, and after I get home, I'm in the bathroom for the entire pay-per-view.
Go to Waffle House, get this smothered, covered in chunks. Just what the fuck, dude. And the thing is that pisses me off, and I'm going on a personal rant here. People on the internet claim that AEW never fumbles a pay-per-view. They claim that any AEW pay-per-view always knocks it out of the park, and they're promoting this like, oh my god, look at this banger card we got. What? When they say banger, do they mean banging my fucking head against the wall so that I go unconscious and don't have to watch this? I mean, technically I don't have to watch it, but I want to so that we can discuss it on next week's show.
I think the bar is set so low for AEW that if they do one rung above the bar, people look at it like it's a banger.
Yeah, and then they'll 17 stars out of 5. You know, this card does not, like, if this was a WrestleMania card, I would stop watching WWE. Like fucking I 39 years of being a WWE fan, I'd give up. Bye. That'd be it.
Yeah.
That'd be it. And I survived the pandemic era of WrestleManias, and that didn't make me stop watching. But this would. This, if they booked a card like that and tried to say that that's a pay-per-view, I would fucking stop watching WWE.
I'd rather see Otis win the Money in the Bank 5 more times.
I'd rather see Otis do anything. I'd rather see an Otis porno than a Momo wannabe match. Sorry. Let's move on to SmackDown before I get too angry here. So SmackDown, we started off with a Randy Orton promo, and my thought is that it walked on the line of PG with some of the stuff that he was saying. Basically said that John Cena is a bottom and The Rock is the top, and that he said that John Cena gives a new definition to rock bottom. Yeah, so Randy going off script a little bit, kind of doing some jabs at John Cena and The Rock. and also kind of furthering his whole deal with Kevin Owens. Looking forward to where all that goes.
I mean, I'd be at bottom with The Rock. I'd have no issue with that. Enough baby oil.
God, dude. God. You got a Diddy party coming up, and maybe would it be called a final puss party or something. I wonder what The Rock would think of seeing that hat. Oh, dude! Last year at WrestleMania, you should have. I wish you had that and wore that.
I might wear it this year's WrestleMania.
Because you imagine when we were at WWE World, so the Rock.
Oh, you mean
the Rock
in the
showed
arena?
up like 5 hours late, but we were part of like there was a segment. The Rock came out and kind of talked to the crowd and everything. If you were wearing that hat and he like noticed you, he's like, "Hey, that's a nice hat. What's it? Final puss? Get that jabroni on out of here."
You know what I could do is I could show up to the arena with the hat off and then turn it on and nobody sees it to the last minute. Yeah.
You got one of those seats behind the commentators and it's just going on.
I would probably get escorted out pretty quickly though.
They'd probably take the hat. I don't know if they'd escort you out. They'd probably take the hat off because puss technically isn't like a strong bad word, but they'd probably take your hat. Yeah. But how much was that thing? $5 or
$20?
20. Oh, Temu, come on, bro.
It was Amazon, but I was trying to find a shirt, and the reviews in the shirts were not good.
Oh, they have a shirt that does that also? Oh, jeez.
Yeah, the hat seemed to have the better ratings. I needed something to get free shipping, so I was like, "Oh, I'll just get the hat."
I think you should wear the hat every week with a new phrase on it.
It's the plan. That is the plan. Maybe we get some hashtags going with this.
Oh,
Hashtag Final Plus.
There you go. All right, so moving on from the Randy Orton promo, we had Tiffany Stratton versus Piper Niven. Was that for the title? I forget. Was it an actual title match?
No, I don't think it was.
No, it was just a one-on-one match. So Tiffany ended up getting the win there in a pretty good match. And then Charlotte ended up attacking Tiffany. I think we're finally going to start heating up the feud between them two. Yeah. Charlotte is clearly the heel in this situation.
Yes.
Interesting move by WWE. Yeah. Because usually returning superstars, they usually will get the babyface run, but they are investing in a heel Charlotte here. I think they could have went either way because I think a heel Tiffany would have worked in this too. So, yeah, I'm very interested in where they're going to go here. I want to see them get more physical. I'd like to see them in a tag match against each other before WrestleMania. I'm hoping they don't plan on Charlotte's first match back to be at WrestleMania against Tiffany. I want to see Charlotte in the ring before that. Maybe against Tiffany in like a tag match or something. I think that would be interesting. Yeah. I'd like to see their chemistry together. Moving on from that, we had Pretty Deadly becoming the #1 contenders for the tag team titles. They beat Motor City Machine Guns.
Yes, boy.
Yes, boy. God.
Do you take them seriously?
If you go off that character that they've been doing for well over a year now, maybe not, but it looks like they're trying to make us take them more seriously. So I'm kind of like seeing what happens here. It's like, okay, you can have a silly character, but you can give them a dimension where they can be taken seriously.
It's hard. I mean, they tried it with like Fandango and Tyler Breeze.
Yes.
Years ago, right? And that was hard to get.
They moved in all different directions. So remember with Fandango and Tyler Breeze, they started making them like detectives for a while.
Yes.
God damn it. What the fuck, Vince McMahon? What the hell kind of ideas are you coming up with? They're like the fucking Hardy Boys, but not the wrestlers. The fucking like those books.
Young teenage detectives.
Yeah.
Yes.
What the hell?
That's NXT bullshit right there, not main roster bullshit.
It was.
Yeah.
Pretty Deadly #1 contenders. Looking forward to seeing where all that goes with the tag titles. What that means for WrestleMania.
I still think we're building towards a multi-team match at WrestleMania. I don't see.
I don't know if they'll do ladder match 2 years in a row, but you never know. Maybe they will.
But I do think that there's going to be, with the Street Profits in the mix, right? I don't think they're going to miss WrestleMania. I think there's definitely at least 3 teams involved.
Yes.
if not more than 3 teams involved.
I don't think we're going to get down to a one-on-one team match. It's going to be a multi-team.
No,
match.
and not with Pretty Deadly being that, because that's not WrestleMania worthy. No offense to them.
That'd be another thing.
Pretty Deadly by themselves.
They'd
against...
have to get us. They'd have to somehow
Yeah.
get us committed to that, and I don't think they could do that in a month's time. Unfortunately,
there's enough beef between all the teams to have
yes.
a multi-person match.
Yes. So we got to move on to the Naomi Bianca promo. This was a mess. This was a mess. This was like trash TV here. They were kind of talking over each other. They were mumbling, flubbing over their words. But they did get to the point eventually. Naomi admitted that she attacked Jade. This might have been good television for those that like Real Housewives, like that trash TV type stuff. Maybe they appreciated this promo more than I did. It just seemed very like, I don't know, unprofessional is the way to say it. It just seemed very like, it seemed like they didn't really give them a script to follow, and they kind of let them do their own thing, and it came across like that. It came across as like kind of just not choreographed very well. It seemed
there was one telling thing at the end, which is, what's the relationship between Jade and Bianca now?
Yeah, so they had the promo, Naomi, Bianca's like demanding that Naomi tell her the truth. Naomi was kind of beating around the bush a little bit, but then eventually tears were flowing. She admitted that she attacked Bianca, or she attacked Jade. Bianca ceremoniously left the ring. She didn't want anything to do with Naomi at that point. And as Bianca was leaving the arena, all of a sudden we saw like a Escalade pull up, and Jade came out, walked straight into the arena, and kind of slowed down, walked past Jade, looked at her for a little bit, and like nodded at her, and then continued walking down the ramp.
But it wasn't a nod of agreement. It was like a nod, like, we have some unfinished business.
Yeah, but Bianca Bianca was also kind of like, do what you got to do. Like, she wasn't stopping her. She wasn't yelling at her. There was no words shared between them two, just a look. And Bianca was just kind of like,
I'm just not sure what the payoff with the story is, right? I mean,
yeah.
If it's solely Jade versus Naomi, I'm sorry, it's not WrestleMania worthy.
I think it has a potential to be.
Not unless there's
we need to get
shenanigans
more deep into what's going on. We need to figure out what Jade's involvement was, what Naomi's real motivation was, and we also need to have Naomi get some revenge herself, because now we have 2 weeks in a row where Naomi's getting her ass kicked by Jade. I think Naomi needs to Naomi hasn't solidified her stance as a heel yet. And that was my main issue with this promo, as they were trying to give sympathy to Naomi still.
Yes,
it's like, no, you attacked her. Why are you crying? Why are you getting sympathy? No, fucking fess up to it.
This is, you know what this is? It's the Rikishi storyline all over again.
Yeah, but Rikishi wasn't getting sympathy for doing that. He just cut a really bad promo.
Yeah, well, he never could cut a promo anyway.
So... And I don't know if it was done on purpose, but like Naomi, her crying and her being in a mess, like there's still probably a lot of fans that are feeling sympathy for her, because she was like caught in a situation where she was like outed publicly. But it's like, no, she attacked Jade.
So I've seen this before from WWE. I think that they're testing the waters, and they don't want to do a flip the switch turn like they did with John Cena. I think they want to test the waters, test the crowd reaction, and let the crowd reaction dictate how they change her character.
Yeah.
Right? If the crowd reaction doesn't buy her as a heel, I don't think WWE wants to force the heel persona down if the crowd isn't going to believe it. I think it's one of those things, because they've never turned her heel, and she's a fan favorite, but by a limited, set of the audience fan favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're testing the waters a little bit, and want to see week by week how the crowd reacts.
Yeah,
and that'll, set the stage for what her character evolution is. Right? If the crowd doesn't believe her as a heel, then why turn her heel?
This is what Triple H needs to do. Next week, Naomi comes out. She's dressed all in black. No music. No stupid Sesame Street spelling
That's
out
the
her
other thing too.
name.
She
None
came
of
out to
that.
a regular music,
Yeah,
right?
none of that.
Like,
None of that.
yeah.
Comes out all black. No glow, nothing. Brings a microphone. Cuts a promo. First thing she says, something along the lines of, "I'm no longer Naomi. You can call me Trinity from now on." And she basically needs to cut a heel promo. No more
And she
dancing.
needs to attack Bianca. She needs to attack Bianca Belair.
We could get there at some point. But
I mean, over the course of this, prior to WrestleMania.
She needs to clarify that she is a heel, that she doesn't want to be the dancing, clapping person for the fans anymore. No more glow, no more any of that, no more fist bumping. She is a full heel. She wants her opportunity. She wants her opportunity at a title. I would be all for her getting a title shot if it's going to be a new character.
Because you know who she could partner with, who's getting a lot of heat right now, and the New Day. This thing feels a lot like the New Day.
She'd have to
for
change
the women's
shows, though,
side.
but yeah.
I know, it's a shame, but it's like the same thing, right? Bianca's been beloved by all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you're seeing Naomi feel like, she's been second fiddle,
Yep.
right? And she wants her time in the sun.
Missy Girl
and that was the
Zero, thank you for coming in. I think that's a zero at the end there. Is it an O? But thank you for the gift. Thank you for coming in and saying hello. And thank you for the likes on the live. Appreciate you.
But that was the challenge with the New Day, right?
Mm-hmm.
New Day felt like it really centered around Big E, right?
Yes.
He was the centerpiece of the New Day. When he was gone, it didn't feel like the same New Day, and that was their whole thing, was they want the recognition and the love instead of it just being about Big E. And I think Naomi felt like Bianca Belair was the centerpiece. Mm-hmm. And then with Jade, those two being the centerpiece. And Naomi wanted that piece of the spotlight, and she felt like she never got it.
I think Bianca is still going to be like enthralled in the whole thing for a little bit.
Do you think Naomi costs Bianca anything at WrestleMania? Do you think that there's involvement in crossing over with those stories?
I'm very wary on predicting things with WWE lately. To be honest with
they
you,
have been quite unpredictable.
We're in a good. There's a good chance that this could all be Jade and Naomi are turning heel on Bianca, and this is all like a ruse just to get her. And they're going to screw her out of the title at WrestleMania. You never know.
But why would Naomi take the beating from Jade to get out of Elimination Chamber?
Maybe her mind will change in the next coming weeks, and somehow, I really don't know. That's
I
one
think it's the other way.
With,
I think Bianca's in on it too.
I can't tell where this is going still, unfortunately.
I feel like maybe WWE doesn't know. I think they have a rough idea, and they're I don't want to say they're pulling an AEW, but they're letting the crowd reaction maybe dictate where this goes, because it's not a
well,
very
like I said, then
path.
they need to draw a line in the sand. They need to clarify who's a heel here, because they can't have sympathy on all three of them. Somebody has to be a heel. And I know, like, Naomi is very one-dimensional. She can only play her little clapping, dancing character. But if she's going to be playing the big role here, and she wants to be a main eventer, and they want to tease her being a heel, if she wants to say, hey, I attacked this person, she needs to commit to it. And she needs to, like, no more coming out to that music, no more glow, no more crowd participation. She needs to be a heel.
Because notice, and this is why I attributed it to the New Day, and they turned heel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Notice when Bianca came out, she was not dressed in her normal attire. Yeah. And that was the same thing that happened when remember, like, months ago when the New Day turned heel, and you and I are like, I think you said one of them was going to turn.
Yes,
I didn't think both were.
Yeah, I didn't.
You didn't think, and I predicted both were, because I saw them coming out and they dressed in black and white and not their normal neon colors.
Yeah.
Right, and Bianca's known for her bright colors, and so is Naomi. Right, on Friday they both came out in all black and white.
Yeah.
So I sensed something else with Bianca there, and not the normal Bianca we all know.
It could be.
Could be wrong.
Moving on from that, we had Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman. This one's interesting to me because like I'm interested in where Jacob Fatu is going to fit into
Yep.
WrestleMania, and are they going to fit him in with Braun Strowman? Is that really the direction they're going here? Um, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with a Jacob Fatu Braun Strowman program going into WrestleMania. Unless it's like if they could somehow get all the big meaty men in one match, I might be somewhat interested in that. If they got
I
like
was just gonna say,
Sheamus,
I
Strowman,
think that's what they're going for. I don't think they're
unfortunately,
going for the
they're not going to get
classic.
Bronson Reed. He's not going to be
He's
available.
still injured. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think if they got like a bunch of the big meaty guys, they could throw Otis in there too. I think that might be somewhat of an interesting match.
Yeah. I
Not,
don't see a true storyline here, and I'm
yeah.
guessing that whatever's going to go with Solo Sikoa, probably not enough time for it to
Yeah, I
play
don't know.
out
They
at this
teased
point.
something with Solo and Cody, but then they like kind of backtracked on that when The Rock got back involved.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And I thought they were going
Solo
to do something between Solo and Jacob, and they probably will.
in the
But I'm
future,
guessing at this point, there probably isn't enough time to get that ball rolling
yeah,
for WrestleMania.
yeah,
There's too many other stories going on, and people will get lost in the shuffle with it. And I think it's just going to be like a battle royal or something. If they're going to do the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal again,
yeah,
and they're going to put all the big men in, like you just said, and I would expect Jacob Fatu to win that.
yeah. Moving on from that, we had the very unfortunate Chelsea Green versus Meechin once again. So Chelsea Green ended up winning. Predictable, I know. What was a little unpredictable is that they introduced a new part of her cabinet. Alba Fire came out dressed in a black hoodie, hiding her face or whatever. And she assisted in Chelsea Green getting the win in this match. Um, didn't really see that coming. I guess maybe like you could predict that they were going to add more to Chelsea Green's cabinet there. Um, I did predict
Yeah,
that Chelsea Green was going to beat Meechin again, but
yes.
yeah, so
N- Yeah.
I guess at
I,
least it
I
went somewhere.
Yes, it went somewhere. I mean, I guess they had to do something with Alba Fire because if you go back to a couple of months ago when they did their first, typical round of cuts,
Yeah, they
Isla
fired her
Dawn was
tag team
released.
partner.
And that was weird they didn't fire both. And I'm
Yeah,
not saying they should have fired both, right? No, I don't want to see anybody go. But it was odd only one of them.
yeah.
And I didn't understand why only one. I don't know if this was their plan for 4 months. you
Probably not
know,
the plan for Chelsea Green, but maybe they saw her more as a single talent.
they saw something with Alba
Yeah.
Fire, or that they didn't see in Isla
I mean,
Dawn,
I'll
which was
say the
weird.
the move that she did on SmackDown, she looked good. The move that she did
Yeah,
looked very solid. She did it onto chairs on the Chelsea Green. She did basically a Canadian destroyer, the
yeah,
same thing they
yes.
call as a Mexican destroyer for Penta.
Or any
Um,
destroyer named after the hometown of the
yeah,
home country of the
so it
wrestler.
was
Yeah, yeah.
she made an impact, and then she saluted Chelsea Green afterwards. Good little mix there, and it's another like layer to that character. We'll see where things go, but adding somebody else to the Chelsea Green cabinet, I don't see that as a negative. What I do hope though is, and I wrote this in the notes, I said, "Dear God, let this feud be over. It needs to be over. Like we can't have another Chelsea
I
Green and
I
Meechin
don't think it will
match."
be. I don't think it will be.
If
I
it's
bad
gonna
news
if
for
it's gonna
you.
continue, Meechin and Elba Fire, keep it that way. Let Chelsea move on. It
No,
can't.
it won't be that way. I have bad news for you because it's gonna expand on the Michin side. He's gonna get BFAB
uh,
and is Zelina Vega on SmackDown or is that Raw?
She's on SmackDown now, but I think
Yeah.
she's probably gonna move on when Aleister Black comes to WWE. I think she's gonna be
We'll,
his confidant
maybe
or
we'll see.
something. I don't know.
But I mean, I see Michin trying to get people on her side,
Oh
and I don't want to say she's
dear
going to build a
God.
faction, but
At this point,
I
just have Meechin go to AEW, please. WWE, can you do a trade? Meechin to AEW and bring back Tony Storm. Can we do a trade, Meechin for Tony Storm? I think you guys
Well,
could do more with the timeless stuff.
again, that the problem that WWE has is they introduced that these secondary titles in the women's roster, and they don't have the depth. They have the exact same problem on Raw.
Yeah, but
Lyra
they
Valkyria,
have a
and
little
how
more
many
depth
people?
than doing Meechin over and over
Not
again
that
against Chelsea
much.
Green.
They have
There's
Lyra
I'd rather
Valkyria
have
and Ivy Nile,
Chelsea
and
Green versus B-Fab. I'd rather see that than this bullshit. Chelsea Green versus Candice LeRae. Like,
Candice
I'm
LeRae.
over it.
No,
I'd rather see that than Meechin. I'm
and that'll
tired
run
of
its
it.
course. And how many matches would you want to see with Candice LeRae?
I
Three,
listen.
five,
I would at
7?
least three with Candice LeRae rather than one more with Meechin. I could go
Okay,
for
so
that.
when you do 3 Candice LeRae, that'll be over in 3 weeks. And then who
No,
else?
don't do a week after
You've
week.
got.
Don't do a week
But that's
after
but
week.
but that's the issue. That's the issue. They're putting them on week after week.
Give
Maybe that's the issue. Is they're putting Chelsea Green too much on TV. Maybe it needs to be once a month,
Chelsea Green and
twice a month.
Meechin has been going at it since like November of last year. Like
Yeah.
we've had the dumpster match, we had this match, we had that match, we had Saturday Night Main Event.
And you're
We've
seeing
had
it almost
pay-per-view
every
matches.
week, though. But you're seeing it almost every
I'm
week.
tired of it. I'm tired of it.
So maybe,
Move Chelsea Green to Raw then. Like do something.
or
Like,
just
this
don't
is
have her
just
on TV every
so
week. That's maybe what
stupid.
it is.
Like it'd be different if the people actually wanted the match. Nobody wants Meechin in matches against anybody. Like they got to do something. Like I don't know. I don't know what they can do. After this though, because I'm just over it.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes cut a promo. It didn't really amount to much of anything other than him kind of taking a stance, reiterating what his match at WrestleMania is against John Cena. Basically taking a stance against what all happened and kind of securing his thoughts of him winning at WrestleMania against John Cena.
So here's the problem I have with this. I love the John Cena heel turn, but my problem with this is that John Cena and both The Rock are part time.
Yep.
And unless they're going to bring them in like they did with The Rock last year and have him more involved, this is going to be Cody carrying the feud.
So
all the way up until WrestleMania with maybe a video pre-packaged promo.
So
you can get away with that one time, and after that, I don't give a shit anymore.
As of right now, like I don't know if Cena will be on SmackDown this week. I know next week he will be, because he's going to be part of whatever the tour is.
European tour, yeah.
Yeah, so he will be next week. Not sure about this week. They probably won't announce anything till like Wednesday or Thursday.
But he can't carry the feud by himself. I'm not saying he's not capable.
They made a
I'm just
mistake.
saying I stopped caring.
It's not a mistake with The Rock and Cena, but instead of the Travis Scott, they should have had somebody that can be there every week to continue
full time. Yes,
the thing, because that's how they kind of got away with Roman. Was even if Roman wasn't there every week, they always had Paul Heyman. They had the Bloodline, like somebody.
They had enough people.
Yeah. They had Paul Heyman that could cover the gaps of when Roman wasn't there.
And honestly, The Rock was the most available he's been in a long time. He was there.
He was there
every other week,
at least like 3 times a month, from January.
And I don't get that sense that he's going to be there that often this go around. I don't get. But
you never know. You never know.
Maybe a pre-packaged promo. Yeah. I get the sense he's going to do like a pre-recorded promo.
Because we have to remember, like WrestleMania isn't on April 1st this year. It's like in the middle.
Okay, an extra 2 weeks.
They have an extra 2 weeks to build up. So maybe not this week, but maybe next week they'll start a major build up, and maybe after that they'll be more involved. They'll be on Raws and SmackDowns and everything. We will have to see, but. Yeah, I think Cody did the best he could with a promo when neither of the people were there that he really needed to address. You saw that his eye was all messed up. I don't know how much was makeup or anything with that, but he looked a little banged up.
It looked real because when you showed the Travis Scott thing, his eye looked screwed up.
So
at that point,
might be real.
So unless they put makeup in the middle of the ring,
yeah,
during that, I think some of that's real.
So, yeah, I guess we'll have to just see where it goes from there. It looks like he's totally locked in with John Cena. He has no other real feuds going on right now, even though they teased a solo thing It seems like that's kind of on the back burner as of right now, but maybe they'll go back to it just to get Cody physically involved with something while these other guys aren't able to be there. We shall see. And then another shocking. We had 2 shocking title changes this week
Yeah,
in
one on
WWE.
Raw.
Yeah,
And
and
now
then
one on SmackDown.
we had LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and Nakamura lost the U.S. title to LA Knight. And my thought on that was, in capital letters, why? Why even have LA Knight lose the title for about a month and a half just for him to win it back with no definitive storyline, nothing really solidified? Like, there was no real feud with them. It was just kind of like, oh, lost the title, Shinsuke doing his own thing, and then he won it back.
I think they were trying to give Shinsuke some credibility as a heel, and I didn't buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I kind of was interested at first. He was kind of eerie and spooky, his entrance. And then, yeah, it really didn't go anywhere. And I'm not sure who to blame there. I don't know if it was him not really being fully invested or if it was WWE not really giving him much to work with. I don't know.
I think he would have needed a counterpart. I think the issue is that there's a cultural gap, right? With appreciating the whole evil samurai look that they were doing with Shinsuke Nakamura, right?
Yeah.
And I think that there's a small portion of the audience that really probably could get behind it and appreciate it for what it is, even though he was playing the heel character. But I think for WWE, and they're trying to get a wide variety of audiences, I think a large enough of the audience just didn't understand it. So either they would have needed to have, like, I wouldn't say a spokesperson, but somebody else to partner with him to give that more credibility, more believability, than it just looked like a cosplay thing. It looked cosplay. It did not look threatening. It did not look like, oh my gosh, everybody who faces him in trouble now. It just didn't get that vibe at all.
Unfortunately,
It just looked like a costume party.
Yeah. I think we've seen Shinsuke's best days behind him in WWE.
Yes.
I think he's
he's
up
a bit
there in
older.
age.
Yeah.
I don't know what else they could really do with him at this point. Like, as an in-ring character, I just don't.
As weird as this sounds, I was most excited for him with Rick Boogs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that gave him
different.
It gave him something. Yeah. Now it's just kind of.
I know that's Vince McMahon's little clown, goofy bullshit stuff that he would do, but at least it was
fans.
Like, you know what?
Fans were excited to see him back when Rick Boogs did it. They liked the entrance, and they liked all that.
I don't know what to do with him now. I'm not saying I'm a huge LA Knight fan, but if I had to choose between the two, I'm gonna choose LA Knight right now.
I mean, I hate always going back to this, but Shinsuke, I think he would be more effective on NXT. Work with the young people.
Say that too. Yeah.
Main roster is just not a place for him right now, because it's just like we have so much talent, so many people are waiting to get pulled up, and you can't just like force something that clearly isn't working down our throats.
They didn't mesh at all. They didn't. The styles didn't mesh.
Move Shinsuke to NXT, have him work with a younger talent. I'm sure you could get something like Shinsuke and Lexis King, or there's plenty of people that they could have Shinsuke work with down there. And let the SmackDown roster be the SmackDown roster. You don't have to force somebody on there that clearly isn't fitting the mold that you're looking for, and he doesn't really fit that mold right now. Maybe if you moved into NXT, maybe something will come up. Maybe he'll have a character shift. Something will strike a light bulb or something, and you can bring him back to the main roster under new conditions. But right now, it's like you're kind of wasting airtime on something like him because the fans aren't invested. He's not popping merchandise. You put a title on him, and it degraded the title. Like, people just cared less. I agree. People cared more when it was Logan Paul as the U.S. champion.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. So hopefully WWE can do some soul searching, not with The Rock, and make some decisions there with Shinsuke and kind of put him in a place where he fits a little bit better. Because SmackDown is not it. SmackDown as a
No.
title holder is not it. Not in 2025.
I agree.
Not in 2020.
I wonder where LA Knight goes from here. I don't. I'm guessing that feud is done.
Maybe he'll
think
go
they've
back to
squeezed
Maxine
the
Dupree and become,
Okay.
or maybe he'll turn into
No.
LA Day.
No. I think that the fans are behind him a little bit, not to the
Yeah.
level of Jey Uso. You know, I
Yeah,
feel
there's
the same
some
way
fans
you
that really
do.
like the guy. I haven't really.
Yeah,
been
it's a
getting into him.
catchphrase.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of
he doesn't
staying
do anything
power.
too special for
But
me.
I wouldn't bench him. I think he
No,
brings something.
he's selling merch, so
Selling merch. You know, I'd love to see maybe Drew McIntyre.
yeah,
Maybe.
they kind of we saw a little bit of that with the Royal Rumble stuff, but they are doubling down on the Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest thing. I think that's all but confirmed for WrestleMania now.
Yeah. And that even seems a little bit boring. I feel like that's a step down for Drew McIntyre.
Priest, like he's not adapting well outside of the Judgment Day, unfortunately. So we got some things to look forward to in regards to WrestleMania season. The card seems to be shaping up, but only a few matches have been officially confirmed. But that's what's exciting with WrestleMania season. You never know what's going to happen. Things change daily, it seems, and we just have to kind of go along with the ride and figure it all out.
Yeah, I think my last point, the trend I'm seeing with WWE recently, is that they have a small pocket of superstars that are aging, and I think they're trying to strike while the iron's hot on these people, and they don't want to put like the world title on them, but they're trying to do something to get the crowd behind them. And you have LA Knight's one of them. He's not in his 20s; he's in his late 30s. Damian Priest, early 40s, I believe. Right? Keep in mind, wrestling is not one of those sport entertainment industry things where you're going to go into your 50s. That's a very small number of people that can do that.
Absolutely.
So you're talking about LA Knight only probably has a handful of years left of full-time competition. Same with Damian Priest.
Yeah.
You know, AJ Styles is aging really well. I still wouldn't put a title on him.
Yeah.
He's aging well.
I don't know if those guys will be around in 5 years. Maybe Damian Priest. We'll see, but yeah, like AJ,
they gotta focus on young talent.
Yeah, I don't think AJ has another 5 years in him. Unfortunately.
No, but he's had his time in the sun. They don't really need to strike while the iron's hot with AJ, but LA Knight and Damian Priest, they have this issue of, I think that WWE wants to pull the trigger to put a main event talent. They're just not quite there yet, but that runway is running out.
Yeah, I agree with that, but we'll have to see what happens. And speaking of time running out, it looks like our time has ran out on Unexpected Wrestling for tonight. We got a lot.
Was I a little early? My bad.
We have an exciting week of wrestling coming up. We have Raw, SmackDown, and the AEW pay-per-view. We will be discussing the AEW pay-per-view with some details next week. We'll also be discussing the steel cage match on Raw, the happenings on SmackDown, and, you know, all the other internet wrestling gossip that happens throughout the week. And I think next week we might, don't quote me on this, but we might have a Mr. Chunks toy chest. We'll have to see. But, yes, we are going to get out of here. Hopefully everybody has a good rest of their Sunday night, and we will see you next week.
Excuse me!